I don't normally do a championship review on a midweek set of championship games, but some of the results we got yesterday, unbelievable. Let's go and talk about it. What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much guys for the response you've given me on my recent announcement. I am going to still make this announcement, valid. If I don't get 500 subscribers by the end of the season, I am going to quit the platform, but I'm going to still continue to upload as of normal. In terms of correct scores, some of you did get a correct score. I can't show the comments on the screen, but what I have managed to do is formulate a new Lexus Hall of Fame. We have split it into two divisions. Here is the Championship division. This is where 24 of you are currently ranked as well. But in the Premier League, this is the top division. These are the people with the most points. I'm currently first place with 82 points. I got one correct score in yesterday's games. That was Blackburn and Bournemouth. And of course, we've got Norwich and Huddersfield and Brentford and Birmingham playing tonight. So obviously, scores can still change within these games. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do give it 3 likes, tremendously appreciated. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. Please share my channel to as many people as you can. All about to really make my day. But without any further ado, let's go over the 10 games that took place yesterday. So the early game to start things off was Middlesbrough and Watford, and Middlesbrough halt Watford's winning streak, denying their 7th straight win with a 1-1 draw. It goes to show how experienced Watford have been in the last couple of games. They got a very fortuitous goal on Ismail Yassar, literally with him getting the slightest of touch from a Philip Zinchenko shot. And what they did really well, they restricted Middlesbrough with having any chances really. Middlesbrough didn't have a single shot on target in that first half. Watmore did have a goal that was disallowed of offside, which was a correct call. Middlesbrough, with their first shot on target, they got the goal, and it's a real lesson for Watford. Even though their game management was really well, restricting Middlesbrough with their chances, when you're only 1-0 up, anything can happen, and Middlesbrough proved that. With their first shot on target, it was a free kick looped in by Paddy McNair, and Yannick Bolasie with a header with his first goal in English football in over 3 years, making it 1-1. This result's not even really a good result for both these sides, if I'm going to be honest with you. In terms of Middlesbrough, they're now 9 points off the top 6. I think with the games they have left, they're going to have to cope with another season in the Championship. And then we saw Blackburn get another home defeat with a 2-0 home defeat to Bournemouth. It's the first time in 17 years that Blackburn are winless in 7 consecutive home games, and Bournemouth were pretty comfortable for a good majority of that game. Philip Billing took the lead, and I'll tell you all, he'll be billing on getting Player of the Month in a moment. That's his 3rd goal in his last 4 games, which is fantastic form by Philip Billing. Blackburn did pose a threat, likewise with Middlesbrough against Watford. They knew they were only needing 1 goal to completely change the game, and they did have a couple of chances. Adam Armstrong did return to the squad as well, following that he has had injuries in his tendons. But Bournemouth did get the 2nd goal, and it was much needed as well. Fantastic skill by Ben Pearson, actually managing to get past Lenningham, teeing it up to Danjuma, making it 2-0 to Bournemouth. Although controversy in the final minute of the game, Blackburn win a penalty, and it was a very poor challenge by Smith on Gallagher. Armstrong steps up, poor penalty, Begovic saves the penalty. Bournemouth do keep their clean sheet, 3 wins in a row, and they've kept in the race of the top 6 with Reading and Barnsley winning. This win is huge for Bournemouth. They've also got a game in hand with Reading and Barnsley as well, so they need to be consistent now. As with Blackburn, they are really starting to drop perilously low. They're 17th now, and if they're not careful, especially with teams below them starting to pick up more consistent wins, then Blackburn could get dragged into it. I don't think they will go down, but for pride, I would say that Blackburn will need to try and finish as high as they can. And then we see Coventry pick up a vital win against Bristol City. It's a 3-1 victory. It was a brilliant performance. I was really surprised to see this performance out of Coventry, because Away from home, they were absolutely horrendous against Queen's Park Rangers, but they responded well in this game and they got the lead very, very quickly. It was from a Sam McCullum throw. The ball doesn't quite get cleared, and then it's Leo Ostergaard scoring his first goal for the club, getting a slight scuff shot into the net. That made it 1-0. And Coventry continued to have chances and they looked really comfortable with the ball. Bristol City looked very, very average at best, and they did look as poor as they were. The next goal was going to be very, very crucial because Bristol City started to get a little bit of pressure. Hanno and Masengo had an opportunity which went slightly wide of the post. Morossi made a big save from Naki Wells as well. But it was Coventry that got the second goal, and it was Matt Godden that got the goal. It was from a penalty conceded by Thomas Callis. Not too obvious in my opinion, but I do understand why it was given. And Matt Godden, who's had a very frustrating season. The fact he's had foot injuries, it's his first goal in 4 months. So I'm glad for Matt Godden that he's managed to start scoring goals again, making it 2-0 to Coventry. That should have been game, set and match, but Palmer Faston had to make the game interesting, played a poor blind back pass to find Naki Wells 1-on-1 with Morossi. He couldn't miss, that made it 2-1. But Victor Gaiolkas did wrap the game up following a very fast break. Fantastic play by Coventry to make it 3-1. This win puts them in 20th place now, 7 points ahead of Rotherham, and they have played 3 games more. So actually Rotherham would need to be almost flawless with their games in hand if they were to overtake Coventry. This win is absolutely huge for Coventry. As with Bristol City, they're now in 14th place, their 3rd consecutive defeat under Nigel Pearson. Nigel Pearson will need to try and work his magic to reinstate the confidence in this Bristol City side. And then we saw Barnsley continuing their great run of form with a 2-1 victory, and I think it's the first time in Barnsley's history where they've had 7 consecutive away victories, which is an unbelievable achievement for Barnsley and Valerian Ishmael. It just goes to show the incredible job he has done. The game was ultimately wrapped up with 2 Daryl DK goals. The second goal is very, very poor in Sluga's part. He reacts to a shot very, very poorly, and DK does very, very well to managing to nick the ball and get it past the reach of Sluga, making it 2-0 to Barnsley. And I thought from then on I was pretty confident, and DK was denied a hat-trick where he did some intricate skill in the box. He got fouled in the box, awarding a penalty for Barnsley. However, his penalty was well saved by Simon Sluga. And then 20 seconds later, Luton make the game interesting with James Collin pretty much scoring with Luton's first big opportunity on target. But overall, it was too little too late for Luton. They couldn't quite get anything out of it, and Barnsley did hold on. And following this win for Barnsley, they're now 5th place. It was vital for the fact that Bournemouth also won as well. They're now on 68 points, which is absolutely terrific. 1 point behind Swansea now, which is just unbelievable, really. As with Luton, it's back-to-back defeats for them. I don't think they're going to be too begrudged on their position in the table. And then Nottingham Forest continue their improved performances with an emphatic 3-1 victory over Queen's Park Rangers. It's the first time they've scored more than 1 goal in a game since February. They were on absolute fire in this game. Alex Martin got the first goal, and what a star he's turning out to be. I'm really, really happy for the progress that Martin has made onto his career. Then with the second goal, it was an absolute peach of a strike by Lewis Graben, a player that's only scored 3 goals all season. He's managed to score a peach for his 4th. It was great, just outside the box, top left corner. And Forest really could have scored more. James Garner had a free kick, which was well saved. Garner had another chance, which was saved by Dieng. But with the third goal, when James Garner did eventually score, you do question Dieng's decision to try and go for the ball. The ball basically beats Dieng, and it's almost like a cross, but it's going to be treated like a free kick. I think even if Dieng stayed in goal, it would have been very difficult for him to save. It was a great strike by James Garner. Queen's Park Rangers were very uncharacteristically poor, really, created very, very little. Eventually, they got 1 goal. It was 2 substitutes combined, Albert Adoma and Lyndon Dykes. Adoma with a cross and Lyndon Dykes with a header to make it 3-1. But by then, it was too little too late, and Mark Warburton gets haunted by his former managerial club. Nottingham Forest are now in 15th place, their highest league position all season. As for Queen's Park Rangers, they're only 5 points ahead of their rivals, actually, but they're 12th place right now. I mean, any sorts of hopes they would have had to try and sneak into the playoffs, I think, are going to be halted now after this poor defeat. Then we saw Reading pick up a very vital win against Derby with a 3-1 victory. And overall, it was actually a pretty scrappy game to start things off. I was like, okay, I did predict this game not to have many goals, so I thought I might be right. Derby all of a sudden came very, very close to scoring. They had 3 big chances. Colin Kazim-Richards hits the post, and Tom Lawrence follow-up gets saved by Cabral, and then Colin Kazim-Richards' second shot is also saved by Cabral. I'm thinking, okay, Derby are doing okay, actually. You know, they're letting Reading play with a bit of a ball, hitting them on the counter-attack. But Reading do get their first shot on target as a goal. And what a strike it was by Elise as well. Brilliant work by Joe on the left-hand side. The ball was passed around. And then Elise just inside the D shoots a brilliant strike in the top left corner, making it 1-0 to Reading. It goes to show why Reading are up there. They are so clinical in front of goal. In the second half, they got a very quick goal. Mayte with a shot. Marshall made a save, but then Puskas with a great bit of improvisation got a rebound, making it 2-0. Derby made it close though, and there was never really an indication they were outside the game. They did compete. It was Tom Lawrence that managed to get the goal, his first goal for season. It was an unstoppable strike, typical Tom Lawrence territory, and it was a shame we've not really seen that this season. That made it 2-1. But Reading did make it 3-1, and it was Lucas João that pretty much got his first touch, who has been one of the most frustrated figures I've ever seen in the Championship with the amount of missed chances he was having. But with his first touch, with being brought on as a substitute, he scores it. Pretty fortunate circumstances. It was a deflected shot, but that made it 3-1. Only 1 point ahead of Bournemouth, though, and Bournemouth do have a game in hand as well, which is a bit terrifying for them. They do have some tough games coming up, Reading, though, so just as long as they continue to score the amount of goals, and they are as clinical, then maybe they may have a chance. As with Derby, they've got to be very, very careful here for the fact that Coventry, Wycombe and Sheffield Wednesday have all picked up points. They are going to have to be very, very careful about making sure that they don't slump in form. And speaking of Wycombe picking up points, they scored 3 against Rotherham with a 3-0 victory. I mean, they only scored 2 or more goals twice all season. It was the first time that Wycombe have ever gone 2-0 up in a game, let alone end 3-0, which is absolutely incredible, really. And it was Musquet who scored very, very quickly. It was a long goal kick by Stockdale, poorly headed away by a Rotherham player, and then Musquet was basically 1-on-1, making it 1-0. It was Wycombe that were looking so clinical in front of goal. Jason McCarthy got the second goal. It was another deflected shot, pretty fortuitous, but it does go in the net, making it 2-0 to Wycombe. Rotherham did continue to pile on the pressure. Stockdale was needed for some pretty important saves, and the crossbar was in the favour of Wycombe as well for one stage. But the game was game, set and match, where David Wheeler scored a goal from an Adebayo Akinfenwa assist. I tell you what, the assist of the season, what an unbelievable assist it was. Now, Wycombe, 33 points. They're still rock bottom following that Sheffield Wednesday won emphatically against Cardiff. But right now, they're only 2 points behind Rotherham, only 8 behind Birmingham. So maybe they have a slight glimmer of hope for survival. I don't think they still will, but it's such a shame for me if they do go down, that they are capable of these sort of performances in the Championship level. As with Rotherham, the pressure is going to start mounting on them. They've got the worst home record in the league, and some of their crunch games are at home. And looking like a side that can't win at home right now, maybe it will be curtains for Rotherham if they cannot take advantage of the games they have in hand. It's going to be a very pressurised couple of weeks coming up for Paul Warne's men. Then we saw Millwall continuing their strong end to the season with a 2-1 away victory to Stoke. I think this does confirm Stoke staying in the second tier of English football. They're 11 points off the top 6 following this result. Murray Wallace got the opening goal. It was a scrappy goal to say the least. The corner wasn't cleared, and then it just fell fortunately to Murray Wallace to make it 1-0 to Millwall. Jacob Brown managed to get an equaliser goal, and it was Stoke who I think was slightly the better side in that half, so they did deserve to get that goal. It was a shot by Stephen Fletcher which found its way through to Jacob Brown, who managed to score past Bilkowski, making it 1-1. Gary Rowett introduced Keithton Beld into the game, and I think he was absolutely vital to keep Millwall solid, but also to make sure that they could be more advanced. And they did manage to do so, although their second goal was very unfortunate in Danny Batt's part. It was fantastic work by Jed Wallace. He took on Danny Batt. He slips over, probably trying to do a challenge, but misses Jed Wallace completely. Then it's a very simple goal. He squares it to Mason Bennett to make it 2-1 to Millwall. Millwall at 9th, overtaking Middlesbrough as well with 58 points. They are 8 points off the top 6. If Millwall keep this going, they'll most definitely be the best of the rest for certain. And then we're seeing a real dejected Swansea side as they lose at home again, and they don't score again as Preston get a 1-0 victory. It is the 4th game in a row that Swansea have not scored a goal. It is also 4 consecutive defeats under Steve Cooper, which has never ever happened before. Heck, 3 defeats in a row under Steve Cooper has never happened before, let alone 4 consecutive defeats. As Swansea once again looked very, very uninspiring. Not a single shot on target against a Preston side who are still managing this. Yes, they got a really good point against Norwich, but they're not the most incredible side in the road, and it was Preston that completely dominated from the first minute of the game. They had 14 shots with 3 on target as well. Brad Potts was the player that got into fantastic positions and forced Woodman into the best saves of the game. And what was really disappointing, their best chances came from players making mistakes, like Jamal Lowe giving the ball away and Preston lashing onto a counter-attack. Connor Roberts did the same thing. He gave the ball away and Preston attacked Swansea on the counter-attack and nearly scored from that. Eventually, in the 91st minute, Preston did get their goal, and it was Scott Sinclair, former Swansea player as well, who managed to get Swansea promoted a decade ago. But a decade later, he haunts his former club, managing to get a shot. It comes on Matt Grimes, and unfortunately on his part, it goes into net. It'll come as a Matt Grimes own goal. A real shame on his part. That made it 1-0 to Preston, and it was very well deserved. They're 16th place right now. I do think they're safe from relegation. It's their first away win against Swansea in over 60 years, which is crazy. As with Swansea, huge pressure on them. I think they are going to have to sail for top 6, but the fact they're only 1 point ahead of Barnsley now, they may have to worry for the likes of Bournemouth, who could potentially overtake them. Swansea are in panic mode. And then finally, just a really unusual championship result. Sheffield Wednesday 5, Cardiff 0. 5. This is a Sheffield Wednesday side who were the lowest scorers in the bloody league. They scored 5 goals against a Cardiff side, a Mick McCarthy side that don't concede many goals. I mean, nothing adds up, which is why the championship for me is the best league in the world. Heck, 11 goals from the bottom 4 teams of the championship was scored yesterday, which just goes to show you cannot predict anything in this league. It was Junior Bornham that got the first goal. It was Barry Bannon, who was so instrumental in this whole entire game. He'll be my player for weekend, by the way. He loops in the corner and Bill Warner gets the header for. Then for the second goal was Callum Patterson scoring an unbelievable volley. It was actually Josh Windass that managed to find Liam Palmer, and then Palmer gets his cross finding Patterson. Then for the third goal, Bannon takes a free kick, gives it to Adam Reach, and what a strike it was. Typical Adam Reach goal to make it 3-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. Then in the second half, it just continued to be the same. I mean, Cardiff did look a little bit better in that second half. They did force a couple of chances, but they weren't anywhere near as clinical or clear-cut as Sheffield Wednesday were, who don't look like a side who were really struggling for goals. The fourth goal came round from Jordan Rose. Fantastic counter-attack by Sheffield Wednesday. Patterson on the right-hand side, finding Jordan Rose to make it 4-0. And then for the fifth goal, another counter-attacking goal. Adam Reach scoring the second to make it 5-0. Cardiff came close to scoring pretty much only once for me, when Harry Wilson on the right-hand side did hit the post. But apart from that, very poor and very lackluster from Cardiff for me, in my opinion. Very puzzling performance. I tell you what, maybe Sheffield Wednesday should appoint Jamie Smith full-time. As a Cardiff, really poor in my opinion. They're now 8th place, but look how far away they are from the top 6 now. 8 points outside. It's going to be very difficult for Cardiff to get into the top 6 now. So that pretty much concludes my video. I'm not going to do results like player of the weekend and result of the weekend or whatever, because it's technically not a weekend batch of games. But if you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. It would really make my day. Let's really make a push to 500 subscribers before the end of the season. That'll be fantastically appreciated. And please share my channel to as many people as you can. It would really make my day. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for signing in this video. And as always, take care everyone.